Scum, podcast with me, Julian, and you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
This is the podcast where we discuss our unimportant opinions on important and unimportant albums. And today's album...
Oh, am I supposed to fill
yes.
that in? Oh.
Mr. Music.
I'm sorry. Today's album's Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. We obviously don't have this planned out. Oh, God. Matt, you love indie folk. How'd you like this album? This is an indie folk album.
More than anything, I will say genuinely that it was a huge fucking step up from Stranger in the Alps, and I already like Stranger in the Alps.
Yes, we did review Stranger in the Alps quite a while ago, and I really enjoyed that record. But the reason I wanted to come back to it was because I wanted to get to this record after to see the progression, because I listened to this one specifically when it came out during the pandemic in 2020, and it was a fantastic little record that made it onto my year-end list, and I just wanted to talk about it. And I had a gut feeling that, knowing Matt, he would probably love this record a lot, or at least like it.
Knowing the fact that it's indie folk, you know I like it.
Yeah, I know it's indie folk. You know me, I'm the opposite. It's like I'm very picky with my indie folk, and you're the opposite. You'll just take anything you get.
To honor Phoebe Bridgers, there's something that she did on live TV where she broke a guitar or something, and then people got mad at her. And I want to be cool too.
Oh God.
So I feel like spreading that message, because they got her controversy, right? So maybe I'll get some controversy and we'll get some views, right?
No, please do not.
So over here, I've got my piano.
No, please, no.
And I've had this piano for 2 years now, and I think it's worth it to break it if we get a few more views.
No, Matt, we're not doing that.
So
please.
I'm just gonna...
Holy shit.
I think I broke the music stand.
Yeah, you're lying. You're lying. Matt. Did you actually break it?
Okay, here's a little backstory. Here's a little backstory. We tried recording this bit once before, and then I thought that I broke it, and I didn't, and this time I actually did.
No fucking way. You actually broke it.
I can't slip it in anymore.
Are you fucking
serious? It doesn't stick in right.
Did you bend? It's like a metal pole. Did you bend it or?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's the only take we got.
Fucking
Phoebe
hell.
Bridgers' Punisher, first track, DVD menu.
DVD menu. Literally a fucking DVD menu. That's
yeah.
It's not even a joke. It's like the album starts out with this haunting instrumental, evocative of music that would play at the beginning of, I don't know, a murder mystery or a horror movie, because it's fucking scary sounding.
And Phoebe Bridgers, if I remember rightly, she literally said that she was trying to make a scary track here. Yeah. She likes scary music.
It in a sense, it literally sounds like a DVD menu. It's a cool take on an intro track, at least with the given name of the song. It's
incredibly dark, and what I like about it is that it features samples from the last real track off of Stranger in the Alps, You Missed My Heart.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As if it's a continuation of it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's
cool. Really neat.
Yeah, no, but it's pretty much just that, an intro track to.
It's just sweeping strings that
very
are very
dark album, pad strings. It's very nice. It will come back later, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. Garden Song.
It actually does come into Garden Song, because
Really?
the bass part that it outlines, whatever the thing in your left ear is, like the double bass or whatever. I don't know, the flute. It's outlining the bass line that starts off Garden Song, the next song.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, in contrast to the intro track, Garden Song is a low-energy folk track that, to me, sounds like it's filtered through water. It specifically sounds like I'm stuck in the bathroom of a hipster garbage coffee shop while someone's performing. And that comes off as a bit harsh, but just know that is a compliment. like I said before, I'm very visual with my music, but like that's what I see when I'm here. It's like those YouTube videos, like stuck in a bathroom while making out while Chocolate by the 1975 is playing in the back.
So, but the thing about that is Phoebe Bridgers' voice has zero effects over it. So you're just taking a shit.
Yeah.
You're taking a shit in the stall, and she's just like the little kid that sticks her head under the stall door and just starts singing to you.
She's singing this whole song while you're taking a shit. That's horrible.
That's the perfect way to experience this song.
No, I mean, quite literally, she is singing over this filtered instrumental, and the only thing that it complements how it's kind of broken. It's kind of glitched up a little, something like the way it's mixed, or not mixed, but produced. And
there's a little bit of static in it too, thrown in.
Yeah, and the only thing that really pops up that's not that is the backing vocal by her tour manager, Jerome. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. All I know is it's Dutch.
Jerome Deepman.
And a hushed acoustic guitar that's not covered up by the filters at all. And overall, the production's just fucking amazing on this track.
And I love Jerome's voice, and it's very fun to sing along to, even if I can't hit all the notes. This is a very good song to practice your low range if you're a baritone or a bass.
It's a very deep voice.
And there's a really neat interaction between all the voice parts whenever everyone's together in the chorus, where the guitar that you were talking about, it goes up the chromatic scale from G to G sharp to A, instead of just doing the normal G to A that it could have done, or like F G A with the scale that it felt like it was trying to do. And it creates a tritone between itself and Phoebe's voice that then resolves into the relative minor first of the key. And it's really, really cool because it gives you this resolution into a more tense chord.
See,
it sounds really good.
If you had not shown me that physically on your piano a day before, I would have not understood a thing you're saying, and I still don't understand. But let's just say, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool.
It is very cool.
But yeah, no, let's. I think we should move on lyrically. This track comes off as a list of thoughts that Bridgers has, mostly about growing up, about positive and negative outlooks on life, whether your state of mind can manifest those thoughts into a reality. There's definitely a word for this that I'm not remembering in psychology, but she specifically talks about a garden that she planted after her her quote skinhead neighbor supposedly went missing, and the said garden is lively, possibly due to being haunted by the neighbor that she quote supposedly killed. I don't know. It's kind of implied in the song, but that's the whole thing. That's what's happening in the track. There's quite a bit happening in this track.
Oh my god,
a lot of thoughts.
Sorry, I was looking at a little bit of backstory on that specific line. Phoebe Bridgers, and a quote, "Yeah, I had a crush on someone who lived next to a Nazi, and I used to joke about just killing him and burying him in the garden."
Holy shit. So it's literal. Okay, it's literal. I mean, I knew that there was like Phoebe annotations pretty much on every song on Genius, so
Phoebe has she's put in annotated like paragraphs for each song on the album on her Apple Music like album page.
Yeah,
so it's neat to compare those to what your like original interpretations are. You know,
I kind of have like a hybrid of them, both my interpretation and then Phoebe's interpretation. And I did mine first, and then I looked just to be like, did I get this right? And for the most part, I did. It's relatively self-explanatory for the most part, but I mean, there's a lot of detail in this lyric, and I think that's my favorite thing about it is that she is so vivid and detailed with her lyrics.
She gives a lot of weirdly specific examples of stuff to put you in the setting of each song, and I like that a lot.
No, I think one of my favorite lines has to be the specifically like the doctor put her hand over my liver. She told me my resentment's getting smaller. It's a cool line that shows her maturing emotionally without ever saying that she actually is maturing emotionally. Lack of alcohol, less resentment, also known as a healthy liver. It's a cool metaphor.
You've raved about that lyric quite a bit to me.
That is definitely one of my favorite lines on this album. I just love it. That's just a personal favorite.
And if you want to continue some pretty fucking solid lyrics, we can go on to Kyoto.
Hell yeah, Kyoto. After the subdued opening of the record, we get into the first upbeat track. Upbeat may not be the right word, but it certainly
It's very upbeat.
Yeah, well, it has a lot of energy, but I think it's contrasted easily by the fucking lyrics.
Well, it's still upbeat. Upbeat is like the sound of it.
Yeah, more than anything.
Specifically, the word beat.
Yeah, the drums, while not a highlight, I think are really fun to play on this track. The constant kick really drives the entire thing.
It's got the nice. I like the pacing decision of this too, where it's like a. It's the second real song is the single. You know,
Yeah.
where it's like written
well,
to sound like a single.
You should say like, more single in the context of like as in like a hit single, because like I mean Garden Song was also a single, but like this is more like radio friendly, to put it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this very very nice track. It seems
I do like how it starts, where the flute and the filtered acoustic track. I think there's like a low pass on it.
Yeah, I think so.
They trick you into feeling the song will go in a much more somber direction before the electric guitar slaps your nuts.
Yeah, it brings a little bit of a grit to it, and you kind of just feel that, along with the drums. That constant kick really does that.
And then that grit is combated again by the inclusion of the trumpet.
Yeah, so it's like very warm.
I like it.
Very pretty.
It's very happy.
Happy.
It's a happy sound.
That's why I say it's like it's warm, it's bright, it's a very nice, pleasant thing to listen to. Apparently, you can only describe it as happy, but yeah,
That's all that it is. It's literally just happy. Like that's the best way I can think of to describe it, because the word happy is like not using advanced diction. It's naive.
yeah, I could see that. And while the instrumentation is very happy, the lyrics are not.
No, not at all.
It seems to be about two things. The first is Phoebe and her band exploring around the city of Kyoto in Japan. And the other thing is, while that is all going on, Phoebe herself is distracted by thoughts and interactions from her estranged dad. She goes on to say that she forgives him, but then contradicts that, while also saying that she hates him, but contradicts that as well. And the message I think I get from the song overall is that it's about being unhappy in a place where you should probably not be unhappy, where you should probably be enjoying your experience. She's in Kyoto, this place where she can have a lot of fun. She's on tour, but she's distracted by thoughts of her family and her dad and her childhood and stuff like that.
And I like that culminates into the outro where she's just repeating, "I lied."
Yeah, it's I do love that.
Or she's calling herself a liar,
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because she does not even understand her own emotions towards her dad, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's more what I get from this song. I mean, like, because she wants to forgive him, but at the same time, not really. Yeah, I think, like I said, again, I'm gonna say it again. The strongest point to this album is the excruciating detail that she writes with. She paints such a vivid picture of what's happening in the song, how she feels about her situation, and you can tell that it's very not black or white.
It's not black and white. Unlike a skeleton costume, like the skeleton costume that she's wearing on the cover, like the cover of the album Punisher, like the title track Punisher, the next track on the album.
There we go. That'll do.
That's the best transition I've ever done.
So Kyoto leads from the very nocturnal and ghostly Punisher, and this track is like if Kyoto is like the happy part of it, the happy sound of it, this hard transitions into like the night, the dark, the fucking like 2 a.m. shit that this song like I mean, it literally is kind of like I see this track as walking around in a small city block at 2 a.m. No one is around except you and a drugstore, one that Phoebe Bridgers would probably walk into. We'll get into that.
Holding hands at the drugstore and just walking down the road.
Yeah.
Your little drugstore friend.
Yeah, it seems like she has a little bit of light vocoder on her voice in this track. It's very subtle and adds to the dreaminess of it.
Dude, I don't even know. The production on her voice is fucking crazy in this song, and I love it.
It's fucking great. The production on this whole album is... There's a lot of songs that like are like fine in the production, but then some of the other ones, like the pads and the synths and the like light hints of vocoder, and there's a lot of moments where I'm like, wow, that's like I would never think of that to be on like an indie folk record.
There's a specifically fucking crazy one that we're gonna get to later.
Okay.
That I know you're gonna nut about when it happens.
Yes, sir. And some bittersweet strings appear during the second verse. That's just a personal favorite touch of this track. And
Oh, I love the chorus in this too.
yeah, it's very dreamy. That's the best way I could describe
It's
it.
gorgeous. That's the
Beautiful.
way that I could put it.
Like it's almost floating, and her voice is just like filling up the entire mix with the. There's a lot of stuff going on during that part, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it's even the there's like a plucked guitar that's going through the song, and it almost sounds like it could have been a harp from how it's composed.
Yeah,
Because
no,
of how flowy it is.
definitely, it's
Just running up and down scales, and it's so nice.
it adds a lot to it, and I want to talk about this one lyrically because it's it's kind of not weird, but direct. So Punisher is a track about probably every indie folk artist's main inspiration, Elliott Smith. This is just a common artist among inspirations for indie folk artists, and Bridges is no exception. There's a lot to break down in the song, so I'll pick my favorite little details. Of course, I mentioned drugstores earlier, and what she talks about her frequent trips to drugstores, specifically to wander around for no reason. She seems to do this for boredom and anxiety, something that a ton of indie folk artists touch on, and this is just her way of doing it. She has talked about this in like the annotations as well. Her mention of Elliott Smith goes as far as her visiting his old house, as well as the many things she's heard about him at the bar. And the main takeaway I think she gets from this is that she truly feels like she knows Smith personally, with how much he's touched her musically. And at the same time, she's afraid that she's become too attached, and if he were her, he would see her as an annoying just super fan. And that's what the title of the track is a reference to, a word she's given a personal definition, which is Punisher, which is what she's kind of talking about with that, where it's like quoting her, the worst way that happens is like with a sweet fan, someone who's really trying to be nice and their hands are shaking, but they don't realize that they're standing outside of your bus and you're trying to get to bed, and they go talk to you for like 45 minutes and you realize your reaction really means a lot to them, so you're trying to be there for them too. That's a Punisher. And it's an interesting outlook to me on the feelings of like being a burden on someone and overstaying your welcome with someone who just wants to get on and do something else, does not obviously want to be there. She gave another good example about like a Thanksgiving dinner, how she like obviously hates like what maybe a family member is talking about, but he kind of has to sit there and smile and be like, yeah, while they pour their heart out on like a subject that you obviously disagree with. This is very this has a lot to take in for this song.
I thought it was with a superhero.
Wait, what, the Punisher, the superhero? You know, I tried to search up Punisher on YouTube and I found like a bunch of Punisher, the
movie, the really bad movie.
I think I got more for the Netflix show, but sure. Whatever. I really do like this track. It's a nice changing pace, especially after like the first technically 2 tracks, but technically 3.
Honestly, usually I vibe with title tracks a lot, but it's probably on the middle of the spectrum of the songs on the track list to me here.
Okay, that's interesting.
Unlike the second longest song on the album, Halloween.
Okay. You like Halloween.
Which is fucking depressing.
Yes.
And the first time the lyrics really, really jumped out to me.
A lot of depressing lyrics on this, and it makes you really feel for her, especially me. I think a lot of just details on here where I'm just like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
And gently plucked guitars bring us into the mellow Halloween, following up on the slower side of the album after Punisher. Combination of wind ambience and Bridger's voice really bring me into what I envision as like a public park at 4 a.m. where the moonlight is bright enough to highlight the soft reflection of a lake.
Man.
I sound so pretentious, don't I?
I mean, you always sound pretentious. Don't worry
That's
about
true.
that. That just comes with you speaking.
It's just like,
but
I said I'm very visual with this shit, but
you want to talk about real pretension? Okay, right at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, you've been in D flat major the entire song, and then Phoebe hits you with an E flat major chord, which isn't in the key, and it resolves really hard. Adding to that, the flute's melodic line is leading you back into B flat, which to me, ending melodic phrase on the 6th has always sounded at least a little bit dissonant, since it's the relative minor first, and like For a lack of a better word, it sounds minor. So the fact that my ear has led to a phrase ending on such a note that is also the fifth of the new E-flat major chord is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I agree 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, you've studied a lot of music theory, so you understood what I was saying.
Yes,
right
I went to school specifically for this. Whatever. Yeah, I know. I heard that in the song when you showed me. Once again, you have to really show me these things, otherwise I'm not going to notice. But yeah, let's just say it's really cool. Halloween, lyrically, it's a track about Bridgers being stuck in a broken relationship. She tries to relight his fire, specifically on Halloween in this case, by telling him that they could literally be anything. And the lyrics read out like he doesn't want to play along, while she's just trying to play it like a kid who's peer pressuring someone into a situation they really don't want to be in. Like with the specifically in the chorus where she's like, "Come on, man." You can hear in her tone of the voice, like, "Come on, dude," like punching someone on the shoulder, being like, "Let's come on, let's do it." And
it sounded more like frustrated to me.
I mean, yeah, in the song
playful.
itself, but like just reading the lyrics out loud, I can feel, I don't know, the essence of that sort of thing. Yeah, of course, it has a little bit of frustration in it. It's a relationship, not like a playground incident or whatever. So
I do need to bring up this specific lyric, "There's a last time for everything." Where when I heard that, just obviously the play on the phrase, "There's a first time for everything," I almost just like died right there. It's very, when an indie, here's my mark of a good indie folk album is when one of the lyrics makes me go, "Oh."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with the genre of indie folk, there's a lot of just like, just feelings. Lots of.
There's lots of feelings. That's how you define this genre.
That's all I.
It's
This is obviously coming from someone who like is not the biggest fan of indie folk. I get
feeling core.
I
feeling
get
metal, noise feeling,
emo,
industrial noise feeling.
No,
that's our band name.
Industrial noise feeling. No, there's like a lot of I guess emo feelings. I guess it's more what I mean.
Actually, yeah, there is a lot of emo. A lot of the lyrics in indie folk are very emo. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's kind of.
That's why it's so generic.
Yeah,
but.
Okay, you want to move on?
I want to talk about the outro.
Oh, okay.
Where you get the fucking like trio of voices, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't know who's the backing vocalist on this track. I didn't.
Oh, it's not there's a trio later. This is the duet between her and Connor Oberst.
Connor Oberst. Oh yes, of course, of Bright Eyes, she has worked on the previous album, and by this point she made another album with him. I think it's called Better Oblivion Community Center, if I'm not wrong. Self-titled. It's another indie folk record. I remember being okay with it, but that's an opinion that I don't remember if I am sticking with. But
that's an opinion. Anyway, the next song, Chinese Satellite.
Chinese Satellite. The album starts to increase its pace with the desperate, longing Chinese Satellite. I'd compare this track to Scott Street on her first album, as it serves like the same pacing purpose. A lively track that breaks up the album's slower moments towards the beginning. In a sense, I don't know. That's what I felt.
I can see that. I can see it pacing-wise, yeah.
Pacing, more than
but to me,
pacing-wise, because the Chinese Satellite's way more energetic.
Even then, Chinese Satellite, when it builds up its energy, it sounds like the song is holding itself back with all of it's strength. Yeah. Like, it sounds like there's just, like, a bunch of zombies pounding on the gates, trying to get in, and, it's just like the door is barely holding itself shut.
And then Phoebe goes on to like into that section after that whole like drumming section where it's almost like she has like a sense of relief. I mean, of course it's not relief in this song, but like the song relieves itself.
Ew. Ew. Don't ever say that again.
I didn't mean to, Matt.
Jesus.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, no, the song, like, because it builds up as if the chorus here is going to be like super impactful, but as soon as you get to the chorus, all the instruments drop out and it's just the strings and Phoebe and maybe some pads or whatnot.
Yeah. Although it is gorgeous.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
I will say, this is the first song that I really have gripes with.
Okay.
I just wish it was longer. It felt like it wanted to grow more.
Yeah, no, I've felt the same way when I first heard it. I think I've just kind of accepted it as what it is, but that's probably just because I've listened to this album so many times that I'm just like, yeah, here it is. But I like Chinese Satellite. It used to be a favorite. I think more lyrically than anything, because it looks at her relationship with religion and her struggles with belief. She so desperately wants to believe in something, but ends up feeling nothing. With the chorus stating that instead of wishing on stars, or maybe a metaphor for God or something, she just wishes on a man-made satellite that's in the air, because it's all she can find.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
I will say, this was actually my favorite song the first time I listened to the album.
I know it was. I remember you, like, immediately after, like, you'd listened to it the first time you started hanging out, and you were like, you played this one first. I'm like, I knew he would like this one at least a little.
Yeah, it's so weird that it dropped off so quickly for me.
I think it's because I like a lot of the more subtle moments on this album. I think those are my favorite moments, surprisingly.
I think I agree.
That and then
I just like
some of the warmer stuff, but we'll get to that.
See, yeah. But talking about warm stuff, that's not in the next song, Moon Song.
Yeah, I was like, you're going to call Moon Song warm? There is something coming up later that is, and that, we'll get to it. Moon Song.
This song is just shrouded in darkness.
Yeah, and it may be my least favorite track on the album. Don't worry. The song is still, like, in context, like a 7 or 8 or 6. I don't know. Out of 10. Like, it's like this album is so consistent that none of these songs are lower than like a 6. So, but mostly driven by a chorused up acoustic guitar, alongside some beautiful flourishes of pads, dragging filtered drum kit. I like this song, and the vibe of the album is in the pacing. I think it's good, but it's just not a favorite. I think that's all it is.
Yeah. I'll say that this did have my least notes. It was hardest to get notes on this song.
Me too.
It is a constant build-up to the last verse where it gets released when Phoebe just, like, emerges from the fucking darkness that she's been singing in. But even that release isn't notable enough to be very memorable to me.
No, it's not. In this track, I'll talk about the lyrics and then I'll kind of jump ahead and we can move on to Savor Complex, because she talks about a romance where she is willing to give everything up for her lover, but he is disinterested or does not have the energy to love, maybe because he's not happy, maybe because he hates himself, maybe because he's unsatisfied. And the fact that she dreams about him smiling at a birthday party implies that she's genuinely never seen him happy or so happy, and I guess I have to assume that's why it's depression and unhappiness. And I think why, like, I had minimal notes on this song is because this theme is expanded upon on Savior Complex, the next track. And it almost, like, I think she mentioned something like, oh, Savior Complex is like a part 2 to Moon Song or something on the, like, the notes.
Yeah, no, it is. She says that.
Yeah, okay, she does say that. Okay, but that's kind of...
I do need to say, go on Genius and just look at the comments.
What are the comments?
Because these people are losing their minds.
Phoebe, what the fuck? Amazing. You can't do this to me.
Somebody just has all caps one of the verses. Somebody wrote, nah, this one hits different, guys. The goddamn dog with a bird metaphor. I'm losing my mind.
Yikes! Especially that final verse.
It's enjoyable. I like seeing the people rave about this song. It's fun.
It's like, I'm telling you, this is in a sense, I've described it before, especially in the camp episode, where it's like the only ones who will annotate or come in comments are like fans of the artists. Never anyone who's like
super fans.
Yeah, super fans. And like on the Gambino one where it was like, what was it? His huge dick or something. Like he has a massive dick. Someone commented or something.
Or the Weezer.
There's nothing here.
The Green Album annotation. There's nothing here. Frowny face. -19 rating.
Yeah, -19 dislikes.
Okay,
like,
whatever.
It's funny.
Savior Complex.
Fucking. We were talking about Warm. Savior Complex it's so cozy, it's so warm, and it is my favorite song instrumentally. All of this is helped because it's in the key of E, which is one of those keys.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty confident it is. It's one of my favorite keys.
I love the violin solo more than anything. It's this song. It's just it is a gorgeous acoustic guitar duet.
Yes, it's beautiful.
But above how gorgeous that is, it's just like highlighted by the violin solo that rips my soul out of my fucking body from how good it is.
It's so good. It's surrounded also by what I call floating ghostly sounds hiding between notes. The strings, of course, wander around the track as well. Very bittersweet, dreamy, broken, comforting, all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It probably is my favorite song on the record. I guess if I had to pick, I don't know, man.
It's not a bad choice at all.
It's not, but I'm
I just
still
wasn't
thinking,
expecting it. I was expecting a different one.
Oh, but
And you know what one it is.
I know which one it is, but there's a lot. I'm telling you, from song to song, consistency wise, and my ratings is all of these range from a 7 to an 8 with each and every song here.
Is this one an 8? I feel like this one would have to be a 9 to you.
Yeah, probably 9 or 8. I don't know. I say consistent, so probably more 8s. Spoilers. The lyrics describe yourself as having a savior complex, which is when a person feels like they need to save others for their own satisfaction or gain. In a sense, it follows up with the lyrics of Moon Song, talking about a relationship that Phoebe is in where her partner is either depressed, self-deprecating. All she wants to do is help him, and that's basically what this is. This song isn't very long structure-wise. It's 2 verses and an outro. It's not really a chorus on it.
And they do a lot with that.
She
ends up making 4 minutes out of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of this song for me is the sound of it. In contrast to everything else, it's so warm.
I don't know, the wave of sound that it builds into for the end.
A lot of not walls of sound, but
it's not a wall, it's a wave.
Wave of sound. I guess that's a good way to describe it. But yeah, this is probably a favorite, I'd say.
It's a wave of just sound and light, man. And it just washes over you, dude. Before the thing is, it ends on a leading tone. It actually does end on a leading tone. I don't know what.
Which means to me what?
Ending a phrase on a leading tone means it's not resolved, pretty much.
I mean, didn't she end on "Show Me Yours"? And previously, she lyrically, she said previously, "Show me yours, and I'll show you mine," or something.
Yeah.
There you go. It does not resolve lyrically and sound wise. Because
she's posing a question. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Made it okay. Now it's my favorite. I was I've been on the fence. I'm I have a lot of other songs in here, but yeah, whatever. If you want to move on.
I want to move on to ICQ by Twerp.
No. Come on. I see.
Now this is you've already guessed. This is what I thought your favorite song in the album was going to be.
Oh, really? Really?
Okay. Did you hear the production on this song?
Oh, fucking fantastic. Yeah, but
that's what made me think you were going to like it.
I thought you then the obvious one now is another one where I'm yeah, this is probably a favorite. And
that might actually be my favorite.
Okay.
But we'll get that. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Not a favorite. It is a highlight, though. Hard-hitting drums, stabs of electric guitar, repeated strings give the song a sentimental tone, building up in an emotional climax that feels accepting as it does bittersweet. Made especially clear by the lyrics, which are specifically about Bridget's breakup with her drummer, or I don't know if it's a new drummer or the old drummer in the band. I didn't want to figure it out. I just didn't have the energy to. Because there was a Scott Street was also about a drummer, because they talk about something about drums on that one too. But it specifically
don't worry about trying to drum up an explanation of it.
Oh, shut up. It specifically talks about her depression being something that's lasting and hard to deal with every day, yet something about his present makes her actually feel something, and how he's kind of grown tired of her presence for spending too much time with her. As well, she kind of mentions that she's indecisive, and the relationship eventually crumbles. In the end, it leads to that climax where she feels like she'll have to wait for things to become comfortable between the two, since they're both in a band. And she has stated that they're really close friends now, if you wanted a happy ending outlook to this track. But That's what this track I think is specifically about on the annotations as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, I really do like ICU. It's just not the favorite, and I think you know which one is the favorite at this point because it is certainly not Graceland 2.
Wow. Okay.
Graceland 2 is not a bad song.
I did want to mention, just as a side note for ICU, this is easily, definitely the actual best production I have heard in an indie folk song. Period. It's period with a T at the end for emphasis.
I guess I could agree with that.
I love it so much. It sounds so good.
I'm trying to think of other examples. I mean, even on this album, Garden Song I like more, but production wise. But I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Maybe Sufjan Stevens somewhere. Actually, that might. Well, no. I mean, Ambience is not like crazy production. It's just production. It's good production, but
yeah.
We'll get to that when we get to Carrie and Lowell. As for this one, yeah, I guess that's not a bad opinion. If you want to move on.
Sure, to folk turned up to 110%. An acoustic duet like Savior Complex,
Yes.
but this time the fiddle, not a violin, I'm calling it a fiddle, because it's
Okay.
country,
folk.
The fiddle is giving a much more dancey performance.
And it's about a track about people who hate themselves and loving those who just do not want to be around. And it seems like more of a perspective on a friend rather than a relationship this time, because this theme has showed up multiple times in this record. I figured that this is a different perspective on it for a friend. It's very same theme though.
It feels more like a friend.
Yeah, more than
because of how more like it feels more folk country than like indie folk.
Yeah, because mostly banjo, acoustic guitar. He said fiddle. All complement the sentimental care for those you love,
and the fucking vocal harmonies in this.
Yes, the Julian Baker,
which are the best part of it.
Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus.
Lucy Goosey.
No, the harmonies are beautiful.
No.
On this track. Shut up. They're gorgeous. I love that. It's probably my favorite part about the song. And
oh yeah,
for
it's
me,
easily my favorite part.
It's probably more of a transitional moment for what's coming because when I was listening to the album, I just was like the first time and I wasn't focusing on the track list and I heard ICU. I was like, this could be an ending to an album, but it wasn't. There was 2 songs left and I was like, okay. And then I heard Graceland Too and then the next track and I was like, this moment itself right now, very transitional to me.
Yeah, but I do need to say that this song, like you've talked about, nothing's bad here.
No.
It's at the least a 7.
Yeah.
And the outro vocal trio that you get is enough to make this song a highlight to me.
Okay. It's probably about as low as Moon Song for me in my case, but like I said, that's not very low.
It's not very low at all. And if we're talking about low, it's time for my least favorite song. I'm kidding. I Know the End is my favorite song on the album, obviously, because it's 6 fucking minutes.
Of course. Matt likes his long, slow-burning songs.
Scream.
Yeah.
It's my only note is Scream.
And screaming. Yeah, he likes screaming. He likes
I also
yelling.
do like Screaming quite a bit. It's easily my favorite song on the record.
It is
the climax here, the climax that it reaches, and the work that it puts in to reach said climax just blows me away.
Yes, sir. It's the last track on the album. Starts out like almost any other track on the album. Soft, melancholic. It's specifically about an apocalyptic world, desolate world that we all live in which she drives down the highway away from the impending doom. And during the middle of the track, after all this melancholy, a cloudy chorus-tipped guitar slowly eases into a faster tempo, with the drums following suit, and that's when it starts building towards this amazing climax. It builds.
So,
yeah.
I need to talk about what the song is doing as a whole.
Okay.
Because you start out with Phoebe's silent acceptance of the apocalypse happening. And she has talked about the road that she's driving down. This one road has been a constant in her life. Anytime I think she's driven down this one road moving like 3 separate times in her life. So whenever she's there, it feels like a limbo to her, and it feels just like this emotionless road. So the fact that she's driving down that same road in the apocalypse creates this tone of just acceptance.
Yeah.
And
Bittersweet.
you get put into this person who has already gone through every stage of grief for the apocalypse happening, and is just like a silent acceptance of their death before it actually happens. And that's when the guitar comes in, and that's when you get ripped into this heaviest sound you hear in the entire album.
Yeah.
Almost a light metal from how...
You mentioned emo earlier, or we mentioned emo earlier.
Yeah.
I hear it. Here's where I hear it the most. It's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's bittersweet. That's the best way to put it.
Everything grows into an indie rock track, which just becomes more and more chaotic as the backing choir just keeps singing, "The end is near." And obviously we said emo. My favorite part of the track is when everyone just lets out a fucking metal scream, which specifically transitions into the same melody heard at the beginning of the album on DVD menu. And everything keeps growing until it fades out. So supposedly just Phoebe just whispers screaming into the microphone.
And one thing about that whisper scream, I can't tell if she's laughing or crying.
Yeah, no, I can't either. it's
And I think either interpretation is fitting.
what a fucking ending to a record, man. Never expected
This is like...
this album to end
This
like
is...
this.
I will say, this is not the most an ending of an indie folk record has made me feel.
Okay, we all know, or at least I know which record
You
that
know.
is. So,
You know which record that is.
Okay.
But I will say that this is a fucking crazy good ending for an indie folk record.
fucking a wall of sound for an indie folk record? What a...
It was very unexpected and very
Yes.
cool.
I didn't expect Phoebe Bridgers to just scream, and it perfectly resembles... I'm pretty sure she was playing I Know the End when she smashed her guitar. I may be wrong on that, do not quote me on that, but...
There's no way she could have been playing any other song.
Yeah.
This is the only song where it would even make sense.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't sing Kyoto and just fucking like break a guitar.
Smash a guitar. But yeah, that's the end of the fucking album. Whoa. What a cool ending.
Yeah, 8 out of 10, whatever. Next week.
No. You could give your one sentence rating in a minute while I go on a fucking rant. Bridgers impresses with her second studio album. I think this is her best project yet, and it's an impressive one at that. The instrumentation on this record is equally nocturnal and depressing, with hints of like high energy in here. All passionate, all full of great production moments, mostly in the atmospheres and soundscapes, creating a ghostly world that this album loves to channel. Her vocals are soft, angelic, all while still showing deep emotion and very vivid details. Her lyrics are desperate, extremely personal, extremely a deep look into love, self-hatred, acceptance, obsession, growing up. She writes with immense detail and is able to capture hearts with just a few listens, especially for me. I think that this is a consistently good indie folk record with only a few moments of uninterested or obvious inspirations. There's the whole Elliott Smith thing, Bright Eyes, whatever. Compared to her first outing, this record's more consistent, more sonically interesting, and I think it's much more heartbreaking. One of the better records of 2020, one of my favorites of 2020, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Next week.
Oh, you're just sticking with the fucking 8 out of 10.
Folk, it's a folk record. There's really good production for being an indie folk record. It's good. It says a lot of the lyrics match up with the sound very well. It's indie folk. What do you expect? 8 out of 10.
I guess, whatever. What's next week, Matt?
Next week, remember when we did Kanye and every other week I'd do another album by Kanye?
Yeah.
Well, replace Kanye with Rush, and next week we're gonna do Caress of Steel.
Yay, Caress of Steel. Yeah.
Yay.
I mean, I don't sound excited, but the more I think about it, I am, because Fly By Night
It's
was...
time for the first real rock opera by Rush.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
The Necromancer and the Fountain of Lamneth, where the Fountain of Lamneth is very noticeably better than the Necromancer. Spoilers.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see next week. Okay. Next week, Rush. Chorus of Steel.
Rush on down and catch it!
Shut up!